cannot use the money. The law doesn't allow you to use the pension fund money. That's the only one who have for any kind of investment. That's why Mr. Vane, myself, Koeneman, Van Epps, all them telling Mr. Lee that he admits himself that the law is not there. So if you admit that the law is not there, and you're still continuing to, and you're instructing the director to use that money, I think that was, and let me, give me a second. Now, after all of this, in one of his letters, he is concluding, let me see, it's written small. Okay, now this is the end of the letter that I got on BB Shah site. While we must recognize that compliance with the law by USZV and previous ministers of VSA has been below an acceptable standard. Now he's saying that in 2015, that the compliance with the law was below standard. And shortly after, he's breaking the law.
He's doing the same thing.
Worse, because I don't know what previous ministers that do to break the law, but for sure not investing 200 million or over than that potential investment of the pension fund. That's a lot of money, a lot of money. You know, when you're managing a pension fund, every decision, because a pension fund, how it works, the ones who are working are paying off, parents and Martin, I think it's 6% of their salary towards this fund. And those who are in pension get a benefit from that.
Yeah.
So already there's a threat because people are living longer. So in fact, the amount of people chipping in is not sufficient for those who are getting the money out.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, you end up accumulating. That's the biggest fund. It is the biggest fund SVB have. They probably still have the biggest one, because the other ones, they're losing money. When you're going to make an investment with that money, if the law is there, because there are countries where you could invest pension fund money, everything has to be studied. They have to see the impact it's going to have, not the impact for tomorrow. Because this is something, this pension is a pension, let's say, forever. Yeah. It's something that until you change the system, it has to go on forever. So when you're making decisions, you have to see how it affects on the viability of the pension fund in the long run. Yeah. And every decision has to be analyzed by they have people who specialize into that, who are going to study the risk and give you a limit of what you could invest and where you could invest it.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can't just sign a paper, let me see if I find back this letter. Give me 1 second.
The doctor's looking through his documents to, to substantiate what he's saying.
Well, I just want to, I don't know what to do with it, but anyway, let me tell you what it has on it. But it would be nice if I could read it.
You got it?
Yeah. So this is the letter that again I got on the site yesterday. It's addressed to Mr. Carty, signed by the Minister of Public Health, Mr. Emil Lee, in reference to your request dated. No, this letter is written on the 5th, and in reference to your request dated August 5th, the same day. So the same day. He gets the letter in the morning. So there ain't much studying you could take on that, but listen to content. You hereby inform that based on approval granted to me by the Council of Ministers, I grant USVB permission to form a restricted capital reserve of 144 million guilders for the purpose described in your letter, and the letter says new hospital project approval for capital reserve and permit. So he gets the letter in the morning.
The Council of Ministers discussed it that same day?
No. To be honest with you, the Council of this thing discussed it the day before. So they had no idea it was coming. no, they had no idea it was coming. So they discussed it on the 4th. They say, okay, yeah, you got permission. So on the 5th, he probably gets the letter from Mr. Carty asking him to be able to put a reserve of 144 million guilders from the pension fund to build a hospital. Because they're going to build a hospital now. SVB going to build a hospital. There's no way in the ordinance of USVB that they could build a hospital, but nevertheless, they're going to build a hospital, and you know a hospital is difficult. Small hospital, they can't make no money. So just imagine, starting at 144, but they're going to finish a lot more more money going to be
Yeah.
spent. So he gives him the permission to do that, to cover the cost of the entire project, which included the so he gives the answer the afternoon. So I've just told you before reading this letter that when you're going to make an investment in the name of a pension plan, you have to go in front of a lot of experts and pensions and the risk.
Study the risk.
Study the risk and see who you're going,
Yeah.
what you're going
We're
to do.
going to invest in, you know.
So, I mean, just to see the extent of the I don't want to say the negligence, but
Yeah, but that's what it is, negligence.
that you go within the same day. You don't have one expert. You should say when your letter was well received, I'm going to give it to, first of all, my legal people, and I'm going to give it. We have to, give this to experts to see if this is going to have the impact on the
pension fund.
pension fund and all that. No, not all of that. The ministers, the council of ministers say yes, yeah, go ahead, spend the money. I mean, that's the top it off. So now the answer, your first question, whether Mr. Member of Parliament Mercelina had good reason to table that motion. Well, I'm going to ask you the question. Based on what I've just told you there, did you think Mercelina had a good case in tabling that motion?
Okay, well, putting politics aside and putting...
Oh, I talk about
No, me, I got to answer
yeah.
you now. Putting politics aside and putting aside, let's say, party and all of that, I would say that motion was long overdue. It was long overdue. Because you're telling me things about 2015, 2016, and so on, that he has been actually breaking the law.
It's exactly that is, breaking the law.
Breaking it. That's a criminal offense. You should be locked up for that. Okay? So that motion in itself, based on the documentation you have presented and what you have told me, yes, that to me, that motion was long overdue.
Good. So now you want my answer? I agree.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Minister Lee has been the longest serving minister that has been repeated in the coalition. We have a tripartite committee that should be looking at labor-related issues for 3 years. We have not made much progress under that heading because as unions, we are demanding some things. One of the most important thing that I feel that is still not touched by none of the ministers is the fact that this 6 months contract where you have 3 contracts, and after 3 contracts you have to stay out a longer period working with the same company, and then you get workers that have been working with a company for over 12 years. They are now passing through the same phase over and repeated. This could not be possible. These persons doing the same job should have been permanent long time. It doesn't exist nowhere else in the world of decent work that a worker would have a 6 months, 3 months or 6 months contract, and after 3 contracts they are like automatically thrown under the bus. And then in addition to that, our system have shown with the hurricanes Irma and Maria, where a lot of the workers in St. Martin's Drug were without a job, it has shown that there is no unemployment benefit. So that is one of the social, what you would call the social protection floor, that at the level of ILO, it is a yearly recurrent discussion that has not been able to be provided by the minister. Of course, we have experienced as unions that a number of hotels made use of an educational program, giving the workers a stipend, and it was as if this stipend took place or took over for their wages. Instead of this stipend be in addition to the reduced work week wage, it became as if that was the wage for the workers. And again, it is something that did not provide the workers with sufficient income to provide for themselves and their family, because it was even lower than the minimum wage. In addition to that, as unions, we have experienced this year a whole discussion on the reason why the minimum wage that by law had to be indexed on a yearly basis in January of each year, why is it now pushed to 2020 and the minimum wage cannot be indexed with the cost of living adjustment for 2019, while we have seen that there were a number of years under the same Minister Lee that no adjustments was done to the minimum wage. This is a violation to the rights of the workers. So basically, we have spoken out on various programs and things just continue to go the same old way. There were a number of issues that were put on the table in the tripartite to the minister that needs an urgent, uplifting. And basically, when we have a budget discussion, these things should go hand in hand. In the budget, you should be able to peg then that price for that social development for people and human beings in your society not to be in poverty. Workers, of course, they have the rights to decent work where they can provide for themselves and their families. We all know what happened, but even with whatever happened, there should be the social protection floor that can take these workers, that can buffer them and take them through the period until our economy restore and jobs are already or are again available for them to be able to get a decent work again. So in the meantime, the minister that has been there has had a negative social impact on the developments in the labor market. And we have also experienced as unions our rights to be part of a tripartite delegation to the ILO on a yearly basis. We have seen that has been shifted into, okay, we will provide unions programs from the ILO to be able to do capacity building from within, where more people will be able to benefit from that type of how we would say activity here locally. But up to date, no program ever came. I have had the privilege, and ministers of labor in the past know the importance of this tripartite delegation to the ILO conference, which is held in March of every year in Geneva, Switzerland. I believe that as trade unionists, we should have had more exposure as a young country to that, to that forum, where not only a chosen few got the experience, but we should have had more union leaders on a yearly basis being able to attend to those conferences. And we are very much disappointed with the fact that this is something that if our government cannot and did not budget for it, and if they cannot carry the financial consequences, it should be something coming from the kingdom, because we are part of the delegation of the kingdom.
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Viv now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact WIB today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Windward Islands Bank, now your online banking partner.
Madam Chair, I have just a few points of concern, and I was given a guarantee last time that the job security for the workers of UTS will be secured, and when MP Bryson gave a explicit explanation as to why the conflicting stories from the different sides, so that was pretty clear. However, during last week's budget debate and also early this week, the Minister of Finance stated that some of the funds will be going towards the old debt, including the law enforcement officers, which I agree wholeheartedly. But I heard MP Bryson mention that it will be coming in the form of a budget amendment later. I would like to know, through you, Madam Chair Lady, what sort of guarantees do we have as members of Parliament that this will be going towards that one of those specific old debts? meaning the law enforcement officers, because we can say now that it's going there, and then later down the line you keep hearing different stories. So I just want to know, what form of guarantee do we have as members of parliament that this will be going towards the old debt, namely the law enforcement officers? I look forward to the answers, and I will have follow-up based on the answers received. Thank you.
In the invitation to my colleague, Minister of Justice, and I, it was said that our presence is appreciated to have any comments from government and on the draft initiative law. Madam Chair, I think a lot has been said on the importance of getting the sale of our shareholding part in the UTS Corporation, to have that done on time, for lack of better word right now, for reasons like dilution of shares and you name it. I think it's, in all honesty, it is only fair to maybe briefly inform the House of Parliament of what has been done. Since October last year, the committee that was installed by the Minister of Justice to negotiate for and on behalf of St. Martin with the Curaçao counterpart together towards the potential buyer. That has been ongoing since then. My Ministry of Finance also had its 2 cents in that negotiation, where it concerns the books and the financing. That resulted in 2 million guilder additional that St. Martin would pay out. So having said that, and I'm very proud of the ministry, my ministry, that was able to do that as well. There's actually where the initial role of the Ministry of Finance stopped. But going along the way, we had back and forth with the negotiations. And what the government of St. Martin did, of course, the ministers involved needed a mandate, and it was chosen to have the mandate be part of the budget 2019. And understandably so, because of the delays, we had those lengthy discussions in the budget handling. It became at a point whereby time became really a factor. And yes, the initiative of MP Bryson, I found it very welcomed at that point in time, because there was no guarantee that the budget would be handled on time, seeing the fact that the buyer's representative had placed a timeline to have this deal concluded, with the risk of dilution and other risks. That is also the reason that we choose to work together on this, and it has nothing to do with politics, but it was all to do with to make sure that we get what we are owed. Now, on the money side of it, and there was a question by some of the MPs on it is not in the budget. What happens, the amount for which it will be sold is budget neutral. We are selling our shares virtually for book value. So that means that in the budget, it doesn't need to be budgeted, because it is for book value. The only thing that you will see in the financial statements at the end of the road is that we had extra additional liquidity income, and our participation in whatever, in this case, shareholding, will show that our participation goes down. So that's the reason why it's not necessary, it wasn't necessary to take it up in the budget. Now, where it comes to the allocation of the funds, yes, indeed, because these funds, since they're not technically in the budget, you allocate them to certain areas, and it was already mentioned where we want to allocate it to. And for those, you need to have a budget amendment to do so. So that is, in short, what transpired and the technicalities of it. I'm sincerely happy that we reach at this point that we can conclude this. And I would like to mention still the collaboration that took place between the MP and my ministry and indirect Ministry of Justice. It was for a just cause. Time was not on our side, and this is the solution that we took, and I think it was a very mature solution that we took, and I'm very appreciative of that. And so, Madam Chair, the government of St. Martin can support the initiative law of MP Bryson, and hope that we can conclude it ASAP. After this, if it's voted upon and it's positive, then yes, we have to wait for Parliament to produce the necessary documents. Then the government is also needs to conclude some other things, like a ministeriële beschikking that needs to go out, and the landsbesluit. All the while, in this process leading up to this debate, I have been negotiating with the lawyers of the buyer on extension of the timeline, and so far that is going well. So I don't worry on that part, but we are going to finish this in a timely manner that is satisfactory to all parties involved.